find your own voice, lead from within. Over to you, Kamal. Please introduce yourself to our audience.
Thank you very much, Namsa, and thank you very much whoever's watching now or watching in the future. Wherever you may be in this world, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. What a world we live in, and this life, and what does it mean? People call it raison d'être, some call it ikigai, others to have a purpose. On average, 90% of people live their lives not questioning their existence, not looking in depth into it. They live life as it is, with the feeling of being lost, not knowing where to go next, and sometimes the feeling of no sense of purpose envelops them. Do you perhaps feel like being stuck in a hamster wheel, always running, always grinding, with no sense of direction, with a lack of fulfillment in your life and belonging? If that is the case, my name is Kamal Ema. I'm an NLP trainer, master practitioner, hypnotherapist, and a life purpose specialist. And with a combination of ancient Egyptian methodology and neurolinguistic programming, I help you create a foundation of a life of harmony, balance, and purpose. Well, thank you very much, Namsa.
Thank you so much, Kamal. So our topic is traits to have a winning mindset. So winning mindset, Kamal. So I chose this topic because I was broken when England lost, but then I just thought, let me just have a winning mind that I have won the game, and but it still hurts. So can you please explain the topic to our audience? I'm just grieving. I'm allowed to grieve because it hurts.
You're absolutely allowed to grieve. How long are you going to grieve? That is the question. And maybe England did lose the game, but they didn't lose much, though. They might have learned if they've decided to learn. So we'll come back to that in a little bit. A winning mindset. What is a winning mindset, actually? And who are winners comparing themselves to? Or what about the losers? Are there any losers in life? Well, first of all, a winning mindset is knowing when to say I've won and when to accept any loss or defeat as also a win. Losers are the ones that complain about life, the ones that always feel that I should have, could have, would have done this or that. A winner mentality or a winner mindset is a person that finds growth in failures. And as we've said before, fail is first attempt in learning. So there is no failure in life. A winner is a person that learns not only from their mistakes, but the mistakes and the experiences of others. A winning mindset is lots of other things, but as a start, there's a big misconception that people understand or misunderstand, obviously, about winning. That is that winners never lose, and that winners never fail, or even the fact that winning means riding the fanciest car, having the biggest house, and having a nice lump of money in your account. Winning is defined by each person very differently. However you want to define your winning strategy is up to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Kamal. I like it when you say winning. We can define winning. We can define winning in so many ways, but sometimes, you know, the reality is sometimes when I was talking about the game, that England lost the game. In personal development, we can say, but winners never lose. Losers, there's no such thing as a loser. It feels like the reality is when you lose something, it feels like a loser. It feels like reality is how you receive. I can say it's how you receive it, but it will still feel like, because I've been in that moment where when you lose in the game, you prepare something, you study, you watch the video, you study the players, you study everything, like with the business, you study everything. But when you go to that meeting, or when you go to that, like England came to the game, and they were hoping to take the trophy home, but they didn't. So somebody can come and say a loser is a loser, or a winner, they didn't lose anything, but the actually person that missed the penalty. How do they go on as winners though?
Well, this is what we were discussing a little bit, right? Now, let's look at this game. England hasn't been in a championship like that, or at least the finals, if I remember, in 12 years. That's a massive amount of time, right? And they have reached that stage yesterday. That in itself is a winning spot. Perhaps they didn't get the gold medal, they didn't take the cup back home. But what have they learned along the road? They've played several games, they've won several games, they've improved their skills, right? And they had that winning mindset all along the way. The only difference is that it became stressful, it became very heavy, especially when you come to the penalty shootouts. It's not something easy to go through, to focus mentally on these penalty shootouts, even though the goal is massive, right? It's the tension. So what happened between winning all these games that they've won until that final moment with these penalty shootouts? They couldn't handle the pressure. The Italians, however, could. Who won? Those that could handle the pressure. Those that could handle being under, like, playing those 90 minutes and still playing more and then having the penalty shoot. That's a lot of stress mentally. That's a lot of mindset work, right? Who handles it better is the one that wins. And not only a game, they win themselves. Now, we're talking about those that lost the penalty shootouts. Too much tension. They're not prepared mentally for that amount of pressure. Or maybe they were, or maybe they got stressed, or maybe lots of things happened. I cannot decide for them what happened in their mind. But there's a trigger that caused that pressure to be too much for them to miss a penalty shot. Now, I'm sure some of them cried, and I'm sure there's a lot of pain with a lot of British and English supporters. And it is a pity, yes, they lost the game. But will they go out of that game with that mentality that, okay, we have breathed yesterday and today. What are we going to do tomorrow? Are they going to take the day off, or are they going to go back to training and improve themselves? Are they going to put pressure on themselves to work harder, to find these pressure points that cause them to lose these penalty shootouts, to lose the points that they should have, would have won if they had played better or handled the situation better? What are you going to do the next day after your, between quotation, defeat or loss? That is how you set apart a winner's mindset. I'm not going to tell you don't celebrate or not to grieve, but what is your next move after that celebration or grief? Are you going to take grief? Are you going to grieve for a week, for a month, for one day? Are you going to celebrate for a week, a month, one day? Same thing. The next day, what is your plan of action? Like anything in life that requires action plans, that requires growth, there has to be an action plan. And that's what I was trying to explain to you now earlier when we were having that simple discussion. Why do you think they lost? Yes, maybe it hurts a little bit. You're allowed to grieve that England lost, but they didn't lose. They learned. If they didn't learn from that game, from all these games that they played, that's when you can say that they lost. Apart from that, they've been learning all along.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Kamal. I just feel I feel it feels like a loss, but I think as a winning mind, basically how you move from there when you have lost, you have to have clear goals. Basically, you have to rewrite your goals and work on your self confidence because that take your it can destroy your confidence away, and you have to have a positive self image. I think that's what you have to work on, and self awareness, and also eternal strength, internal strength, and self determination. Because it's okay for somebody to say uh, they lost, they worked very hard, but when you know that how much you prepared, then it does destroy. And I think having self assessment as well, and a self discipline, and not having excuses as well, and be aware why you've lost. I think it does make a big difference with whatever you do in life. But I'm not making excuses for England, and I was really hurt because I know how they've lost. I was really hurt. I have never been hurt in my life. I was hurt. Italy didn't cheat. England didn't cheat. But sometimes there's some things that I wish I didn't know. But I wish they won. I wish I was given the opportunity as Nom Sangosi to basically to watch the game and enjoy it and know that they won. But I think England would have won, but that opportunity was taken away by Mr. Coronavirus. I'm not lying anymore. Yes, he took the opportunity from them. Why would he appear while they were doing penalties? He wasn't there, but then he appears when England are doing penalties.
Don't make excuses for people.
I am not making
Don't make
excuses.
excuses. Look, it's very simple. That's what I was telling you from the very start. You are making excuses for a loss that happened that you want to see as a failure.
I'm
Now,
not making an excuse, Kamal. He took that opportunity from Italy, from England. Anyone can say Italy won, but to me they didn't win, because that opportunity, to me, it was taken away. For me to see the fair game, it was taken away. And
Okay.
I wish that he didn't interfere. God does not interfere, but he did.
Nothing interfered. This is a game, and there is supposed to be fair play, and there's supposed to be who plays better at that game. Now, this is a competition. That's a sport thing, and it will always be like that. Who plays better during what situation? Even if you're sick, if you're not well, if whatever happens, right? Now, we're talking about life compared to a game now. Let's talk about life. In separations and divorces, you will always find two people trying to prove who is the best, who is the winner in that separation or divorce. The winner is not the person that gets into a new relationship or has the better partner or has the better house or a better car or whatever it is like that. The winner is the one that can maintain self-discipline. The winner is the person that doesn't fall into bad habits or creates bad habits, in a sense. The winner is the person that understands and learns from their mistake to improve on who they want to be and who their partner will be in the future. The winner is the person that takes time to grow, that takes time to understand, to be aware of themselves, to grow self-esteem and to understand their self-image and be disciplined and talk to themselves in a good manner, in a positive, I'm going to use positive now, but in a positive, uplifting manner, right? A winner is a person that clearly defines the goals that they want in their life. It is a person that focuses on the positive sides of life and actions. No matter what happens in your life, there is always a positive result. As harsh as it may seem, death, loss, separation, anything that you may see in your life as negative, If you look at it from a different perspective, you will always find a positive interpretation that will lead you somewhere different, that will lead you to growth, if only you choose to accept it as a growth possibility. Sorry. How much power of self-determination do you have is important, because that's what makes you a winner. Now, that determination is what happens next. Now, we're talking about the loss of the English team. That's exactly what I was talking about 5 minutes ago. How much are you determined to make the best out of this outcome? How much determination do you have inside of you to improve who you are? Right? You are in charge of that whole story. You are in charge of deciding what kind of life you want to lead at every single point of your life, at every single event in your life. You decide whether to embrace it as a learning and opportunity, or you decide to call it quits, or say, oh, I lost this battle. Oh, how am I going to get up? Oh, you know what? This is not worth it. I don't want to do this. This is so tiresome. Life isn't meant to be easy. There are no hacks in life. There are no shortcuts. Sometimes you get offered these shortcuts, yes. But you are offered these shortcuts for something in return. I personally, I could never work with somebody or trust somebody that never failed. How am I to know that this person has grown from the person they started off as the person they are now? I failed so many times at so many different things. But again, it wasn't failure. They were learning opportunities. It means I wasn't ready to succeed at whatever I did. It means I didn't find the determination. I didn't have the right mindset. I didn't have the knowledge, whatever it is. I wasn't ready to embrace that winning opportunity back then. So that's my answer to you.
Thank you so much, Kamal. Thank you so much. I do appreciate your answer that you were not that winning mindset. Basically, sometimes you have to accept the things. I wish I can with it. I've accepted it, but I'm really pissed off with Lucifer. He basically, I failed him entering those boys. He did that to my daughter once. I didn't know what he does. But he did it at the dance when she danced, but wanted her to quit. But I said no, told him off. And then but with the game, I thought it was a joke. When the players, and they were like, I want to show you what I do. And I was like, what now? I want to watch the game. I don't want this. I don't want anybody interfering. And then, you know, that guy, when he kicked the ball, I knew basically, because I felt the fear. I'm not a prophecy, I'm not a psychic, but I felt the fear, and I was like, this is not what I need to, but I needed to know if they actually failed. So I'm never ever going to agree with England losing. So I'm putting my hands up and I'm saying I don't know who the winner is. I'm being honest, and I'm testifying the truth on earth for God. I'm testifying it. I'm saying
I'll make it easy for you. I'll make it easy with a very simple quote.
Yeah.
One man's loss is another man's gain.
I know.
One man's misery is another man's joy. So no matter how you look at it, from your perspective, it is a loss. From the Italian perspective, it's a win. So we're talking about games, and we're talking now about life itself again. What you consider winning, I might consider losing. What another person considers winning as having all the business success and traveling around the world and doing this and doing that, but not having time for his family, they could consider that success. A person that buys everything that they want for their kids and takes them on travels and all of that, and has all that money. Another person that is sitting in in a shack with a 1-bedroom apartment with 3 kids and their partner might be in their circumstance, they can see that as winning because they are together as a family. You see, you forgot to take into consideration the joy that you had spending that time with your family watching an interesting game.
Watching my family being trashed.
No, you are sitting with your family and enjoying that time watching something else. You see, a lot of people take these games very seriously. I have friends that they are maniacs when it comes to their favorite football team, right? In Egypt. And whenever there's a derby between these two games, but just out of fun, we're a group of 7 boys that grew up together. One of my best friends sits there cheering for the opposite team, even though we all cheer for the same team. He does it on purpose to cheer for the other team, just to piss off the people that are taking things too seriously. It's a game. There's nothing to take serious about it. You're not the player, you're not the coach, you're not the director of the club. And yes, you are allowed to feel sorry, you're allowed to feel that loss. And that's what we're talking about in life. You are allowed to accept the fact that, I couldn't do this yesterday. But will I be able to do it today? Have I learned something from yesterday that will make me better today? Think of Edison, right? Over 1,000 times trying to create that light bulb. The same question came in. How did you manage to continue after more than 1,000 times, more than 1,000 failures, and you still persisted? The answer was very simple. I didn't fail 1,000 times. I learned 1,000 different ways not to make a light bulb.
Yeah, I agree with you, Kamal, but I would have liked
There are no buts. Forget about
fail. To fail for real. I would have liked them to. I'm being serious now. Because we talk about the energy, bringing good energy into your life. I actually wish that bringing that energy, that I wish it would have been fair for me, for them, and now I'm never gonna know what was gonna happen, what God had planned for their future. I'm never gonna know. So I'm not gonna be one of those people that basically I come here and I lie knowing the truth. I'm never gonna know what would have happened. I know some people
look at it from this perspective, right?
Yeah.
You're thinking from that perspective that I'm never going to know how this is going to be. You know what? Look at how the Italians are, and you'll know how it feels like. Look at how the Italians are celebrating, and you'll know what it would feel like to win.
But it's a lie.
Look at what the Italians are doing the next day, if they're training or not.
It's a lie.
It's not. It's not. This is the actual fact about life, okay? If you stay too long in that dump, in that feeling of being lost and all of that, that's when you start losing. That's what we're talking about now. This is a winning mindset. A winner mindset always takes an opportunity in every single moment of their life to get on their feet and move forward. I'm going to take a line from a movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
From Batman. Why do we fall? So that we learn to pick ourselves up again. If you don't learn to pick yourself up again.
That is so true. That is so true. We learn.
That's it. That's what we're talking about here. That's the mindset that you want to implement, whether it's for you, for your children, for your friends, for your relatives, whoever wants to come around and listen and learn. And this is exactly what we are doing, right? Doing all that work that you're doing for Nkosi Talk Show and Hope Spring Agency, right? It's that winning mindset is creating something from nothing, so that others have hope, so that others learn, so that others grow. because what you want to create or want to contribute to in this world is helping others. Now that is a mindset. How many times have you failed with a talk show? How many times have you made mistakes with Hope Spring agency? How many times did you get up on your feet and you were like, oh my God, I'm not going to do it. Oh my God, I lost money. Oh my God, this person stole from me. Do you want to share? Or have these situations and events not created the person you are today? Tell me I'm wrong.
No, you're not wrong, but I have to grieve. I have to allow myself to grieve.
Yes, don't forget it. Okay, we spoke about that. You're grieving, fine. Grieve today, grieve tomorrow. After tomorrow, you're a new person. You learn from that, right? That's what we're talking about.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. I have to allow myself to grieve and also maintain a white belt mentality and prioritize my values as well, because wins. I understand that wins. A winner wins every day. So I'm a winner every single day. I understand that, and I want the audience to understand that when you win something, when you lose something, you still have to maintain the white belt of mentality. You still have to build other people and help them succeed. You still have to know yourself and be honesty as well, and still maintain that growth mindset. But with my situation, I don't like to pretend I'm hurting because England lost. I'm hurting, but I'm not gonna sit there and say they didn't play well. They didn't do this, because I know how it feels when you actually prepare for something. I have prepared for something for Ghost Talk Show, and basically I've prepared for Ghost Talk Shows and Hope Springs Eternal Introduction Agency, maybe to enter the awards. I've never won the award, but if I did lose to somebody else, maybe it would hurt, but I don't think it will hurt the same way that I'm hurting for them, because I've been on that pitch, and when you get hurt, people tell you that, oh, it's gonna be okay, but it doesn't work that way. When I'm being given an opportunity to score and I miss, it doesn't. No one can comfort you unless you grieve and let it go. And it's reality. The reality is the reality. I know Italian are celebrating, and that is life. That is part of life. And this shows us in business as well, that you cannot have it all right now, and then you wake up in the morning, you have nothing. So you have to have that mindset of starting over. You have to have a mindset of basically building your empire from the start if things go wrong. But the reality is you will be hurting, even though you have that mindset. As long as you're not making it wrong, like Carol Ann always say, don't make it wrong. So I am not making it wrong, but my feelings are real. Come on, I'm hurting, so let me grieve.
No, but grieve all you want. I don't care what you're grieving. I'm happy that Italy won. Forza Roma, Forza Italia.
Hey! So not fair.
You see, but that's the thing that I'm talking about.
Yeah. Right? Anyway, you I know you want me to move away. I know I need to move away from this. Yesterday, you could see Martin was like a woman, go quiet. I didn't sit down. I was watching the game standing. I was like, could you please sit down? And I was like, could you please watch the game? And when they lost, I just went quiet. I didn't speak.
And that's fair. All right.
Yeah, I didn't speak because God said, I read the Bible, but God says you have to allow your feelings. There's something that he says that nothing lasts forever, that whatever you do in life, know that nothing lasts forever. If that lasts forever, that means it's fine. You have to keep working hard. But he says you have to understand that nothing lasts forever, even if you lose. But England, I know England, people expected England to lose anyway, but I expected them to win. And I think we do learn. I've learned something from that game, that whatever you do in life, no matter how much you prepare, you have to learn to deal with the outcome, whether the outcome is negative or positive. You have to learn to deal with it. And in business as well is like that. You have to learn to deal with a negative outcome, whether it's a positive outcome, and learn to celebrate yourself as well. And which is a big thing that you need to learn. We need to learn as a human being that celebrating yourself is very, very important, which sometimes we don't do it.
Yeah, very true. And I'm going to comment on two things that you said. First, you said earlier about having that white belt mentality. And that's something very similar that we use in NLP. It's having that, it's a growth mentality, which is the know-nothing state. You get into a situation, even if you've been in it before, you set yourself as if you don't know anything so that you can put yourself in a learning mode, right? Now, the second thing that I'm going to comment on is what you were talking about right now, which is the outcome, whether it's positive or negative. I'm going to disagree with that because there are no negative outcomes.
Are you kidding me?
No, there are no negative outcomes. See, negative and positive, wrong or right, bad and good, they're all concepts that we have created to make ourselves feel better. At the end of the day, if you have a winner mentality, every situation will be a positive outcome. Every event that happens to you will be something for your benefit. Any person you meet, you will learn something from them. Anybody in your life will be part of your growth, and you will be part of theirs. And that's the difference between having a winner mentality and a loser mentality. A loser mentality always says, that was such a negative information, or this was so negative. And that's, yes, I believe in positive and negative energy. That's something completely different. But any situation has a positive outcome for you. At any given time, if you think of it in the very minuscule ways, the only way for you to grow is to capture that moment and realize what you can learn from it. And if you learned even, I'm going to weigh it as this, if you even learned an atom of information, you have won, you have gained. Because that's the whole concept of life. It's growing and learning. The moment, I can't remember who said that, but it's when you stop learning is when you die. And that's the whole concept of a winner mentality. That's the whole idea. And these are one of the traits that a winner has, right? Is being able to grasp onto any event in any situation and make the best out of it as an outcome, as a growth method. Being able to see and reflect on any situation where they can compare themselves yesterday to the day they want to be today and the day they want to be tomorrow, and not comparing themselves with anybody else. Remember, the best competition is not with others, but with yourself. Yes, in games, in football, in sports, we do compete against each other. But the winner, even if you lost, is the one that has learned how to play a better game the next day, or has learned, let's talk about running, athleticism, or has learned to do a better run, faster run. Today, better than yesterday, and tomorrow, better than today. But the most important thing as well is being able to learn to understand how to live in the present moment, not in your dreams and not in the past. Living in the past will only bring you back into that pain, will cause you suffering, actually, not pain again, because it will cause you suffering. And repeating that suffering is that optional part of life, where we say pain is real, suffering is optional. The longer you live in the past, the longer you will allow that suffering to continue. Living in the future doesn't help, because there's no outcome in the future unless you start today with the actions that you want to do. So create the habits that you want today for a better tomorrow, in a way. These are all tiny traits that you use to have a winner mentality, a winner mindset.
Thank you so much, Kamal. Thank you so much. I like it when you say don't compare yourself with anyone. And I wasn't actually comparing myself with I wasn't comparing England with Italy. I would never compare them with it, because I love my boys so much. So I never compare them. I know everybody says Italy was better, England was better. I say my boys were better. So because they're good enough for me. So I will never compare. I don't like comparing my life with anybody else, no matter how much failure I'm failing or how much success I'm succeeding. I've learned that the hard way, that I do not want to compare my life with somebody else or to think that I'm better than anybody, because that is me stealing my glory. Because God wants somebody that celebrate their friends, that celebrate, build each other. So that's what I've learned, that I cannot compare my life with anybody else. Every time somebody says, Nomsa, why your relationship is working well, mine is not, I always say, but you don't know my story. Why don't you ask my story? And I tell you what I've been through, and then how I've managed to actually maintain the life that I have now by listening to my story first. So I always say, don't judge yourself, listen to my story first. Then you can, instead of judging yourself, you can create your character, because everything we do in life is all about character, acceptance and image. So I love the way you say live in the present moment. And when you live in the present moment, you avoid the suffering. So I love that. Create the habit that can take you to where you need to go. I love that as well. I think that is something that, as a person, if you really want to take your life to the next level, you have to create the habit. You have to work on your confidence, and you have to have a no risk reward mindset. You have to understand those principles of no risk, no reward. So you have to understand those principles and embrace your mistakes and move on. Like what you were saying, live in the present moment, and keep your curiosity. So what helps me be who I am is my curiosity in being hungry to actually go further with life. When I look at things like right now, I'm looking at England, I'm like, we failed, but I'm hungry to know what is the next chapter. What are they doing in the next chapter? What am I doing in my next chapter? And just find the gratitude, things that I'm grateful of, and celebrate my friends and celebrate my family and celebrate myself as well, because we work very hard each and every day. So I love celebrating myself and look at the things that I have done, even if they're not big achievement, just like being appreciating me for actually having the courage and having that strength to actually go. Oh, over to you, mister.
I like that part of appreciating today and appreciating what you've learned throughout the day and throughout the process. That's also part of that self-awareness, right? It's also another trait that one should have if one wants to have that winner mentality. We've spoken about self-awareness several times, and self-awareness includes the art of really understanding who you are, why you are there, what is part of your purpose in life, right? This is also another trait, is understanding that Your purpose is not an individual purpose, but a collective purpose. One of them at least, right? And this is something that I teach as well, is that understanding life purpose, not only from one perspective, but we have several life purposes, and our purposes in life change throughout our growth in life. And while we may be in one place, we may have several purposes. That really helps you understand your goals in life and really setting what they call, the SMART goals, so that in NLP we call them specified outcomes. It's really specifically to what are the goals that you want to achieve, how you're going to achieve them, how long will it take for you to achieve them, what will be the signs of your first successes and your late successes, and why is there a reason in your life for doing that or going for that outcome. Once you've understand all of that, which takes part in self-awareness, having purpose, there's also that self-image or self-talk even. How do you talk to yourself in the morning? How do you talk to yourself in the day, actually, not just in the morning? Are you one that says, oh, I'll just sit down here and watch TV. Oh, no, I can't be bothered to do this. Oh, let's have that piece of cookie or that last piece of chocolate. It's not going to harm. Or are you one that is disciplined enough to know what is good for your benefit, what will benefit you, what is resourceful for your life, and what is unresourceful? And these are different traits. I mean, you can find different traits. I think a very old book, I can't remember the author. I think it was written in 1979 about that winning mentality or the qualities of a winner. And I think the book was called a very old book. Well, very old, 1979, I think it was written. And that talks about that mentality and these traits that a winner has, and what you see in winning, right? One of the wonderful characters that I think I was watching his video a few days ago. It was Charlie Sheen when he came on, when he was being roasted. There was a roast of Charlie Sheen a few years back, or there was a roast of somebody else. And he came out saying, like, do you think I lost because I'm not on CBS? Do you think I lost because I don't have any of these movies or whatever? I won every single time. He was addicted and he got out of it and he still had a job. He got on to being paid massive amounts of money on a show, and he lost that show and lost I don't know what, and he still came back on top and had another show. He did so many movies that were massive hits and he won every time. He went to jail, he went to rehab, he was with prostitutes, and still all along the way he had his family to support him. And still all along the way he could manage to flip off his managers, to flip off all of Hollywood, and stay on the top and say, I'm still a winner. Now imagine that mentality of somebody that has gone through so much, I'm going to call it trauma in his life, so much trouble, and still coming on top saying, I still win. I still do this and I still do that and I still have that. Why? Because it's that mentality. He knows what is a winner for him. He knows that because he has his family next to him, that's what's making him a winner. And that's what's important. You need to realize the importance of the people in your life. You need to realize what is important for you and where you want your winning streak to be. Is it in your career? Is it in your personal development life? Is it in your relationship? Is it in your family? Is it spiritually? Is it materialistic? Wherever that focus you want to care about, whatever that area of focus you want to dedicate yourself into, you are the only one that can decide how you're going to win there. That's it. I'm done.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Kamau. I actually agree with you. Actually, you have to basically what you're saying when you describe this person that is had ups and downs and they still believe in themselves is you have to learn to basically you have to hold the pen in your life and be the writer of your story. Uh, some people might not believe in you, and if you are still holding the pen and having a growth mindset as well, you'll be able to succeed in whatever you do in life. And this person that you describe, basically, they are someone who takes action regardless of circumstances or situation. He just likes to take action and just get on with it and embrace the changes in that moment. And having self-discipline as well, I think, is very, very, very important. And not having excuses. I am somebody that when I know that there are things that happen and I say to myself, I never gonna know what would have been. But there's things that happen that I say to myself, I don't make excuse for myself and I don't blame myself. I thank God for giving me that opportunity to actually try out. If it doesn't work the way that I want, and I always say I want to know where I made mistakes, my weaknesses. I want to know, was there any weaknesses? But then sometimes you realize that, like when it comes to business, if you want to win, when it comes to business, sometimes your dream, some people might not see it as a dream. So you have to have that mindset of wanting to win, wanting to be hungry to succeed. Like in Ghost Talk shows, I want Ghost Talk show to serve millions and millions of people. But if things don't go my way, I still have to keep basically I still have to keep going and until I get there, because sometimes my way is not God's way. So that's why basically when I pray, I always say, God, show me your way, or let him go to talk show be your way, how you want it to be, because my dreams might be too small. So if you want it to be this big, let it be big. So I think that's what happens in life. You have to have a mindset of a lion, strength, slaughterhouse. I find myself in a slaughterhouse, still have strength. So you have to have that mindset of a lion. So it does help. It really, really does help.
And that's exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, I think we covered the whole subject here. And one last thing is one last thing I'd like to add is continuous growth, right? That's a winner mentality. Again, growth. Always looking for what will make you grow, how you can grow, any opportunity that you can to dream, to achieve, to explore, to do something new, something that you enjoy, right? That is what I call a winning mindset. That is winning, right? You create that world you want to be living in. And that winning mentality comes from you persevering and continuing. It doesn't mean that you finish first every time to win. So I'll leave you with this little story that I remember reading from one of the martial arts books. I can't remember, but there were these two great martial artists, and one of them came to the second one came to the other and said, like, I want to prove once and for all who is the best martial artist. And to do that, they decided that they will row downhill from the top of the mountain to the bottom of the mountain on a river. And so they both went to the top and they started rowing. The first one went like super fast. He did everything he could, and he reached the end. And he waited for the other one to come half an hour, an hour and a half. And the other came down very calmly with a smile, no sweat. And the first one told him, I won, I am the martial artist. And the second one told him, yes, good for you, you did win the race. And yes, I will admit that you are the best martial artist between us. However, tell me one thing. Did you notice the salmon swimming upstream? Did you notice the cub bear that was on the side with his mother trying to fish? Did you notice the colors of the trees that were changing or the flowers blossoming? At the end, you might be the winner, but from my perspective, I am also a winner. You take that story and do with it whatever you want to. You understand it however you want to. But I think this story relates a lot to what a winner mentality is. So thank you for me for today. You're muted, Nomsa.
For me, basically, I'll say trust your journey and trust your vision, and create a momentum with small steps. Everything is step by step. Some people make mistakes because you start comparing whatever you do with somebody else, and instead of taking small steps bit by bit, you start going. Instead of crawling, you want to run, you want to walk. So, and you take action regardless of what situation you're going through, and take action. If things don't go how you want it to go, know that you can recreate every vision. You can recreate everything that you're doing in life, but you have to be the one that is writing the story. You have to be the author on that story, on that chapter. You have to be the main actor, because in the movie there's directors, there's everybody, but whoever the writer knows what they're looking for, the director knows what they're looking for. So be the director holding the pen in your own story. And thank you so much, guys. We are here Monday to Friday at Ngozi Talk Shows, and 1 p.m. UK time. If you want to speak to our coaches, please just go to our page, Ngozi Talk Show page, and get in touch with the speakers and with whoever you want to get in touch with, your request, and we'll direct you to we'll connect you with that speaker that you want to connect with. And live with grace, everyone. When you're watching this video, please share it, press some heart button, and share some love with your friends. And God bless you. Live with grace.